Hello and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex and our Into the Vortex coverage of the game Dauntless. Now I am of course joined by Gallows as always, and this is a game that both of us have been very excited about. I am a huge Monster Hunter fan. That franchise is something that I absolutely adore. And a couple games ago, Gallows joined me in the world of Monster Hunter, and we did a ton of hunting. So when this game was announced as basically a PC Monster Hunter clone, we were both extremely excited. We jumped on, we got the highest founder packs, and we were just good to go. This is something we had highly anticipated. Well, a little while back, they had a Founders Alpha where we got to try the game a bit, and they are now in closed beta. So we wanted to jump in here and kind of give you guys a first impression. Now, I will say that I have not played this game a whole lot in its beta phase. Gallows did play quite a bit of the game. He did progress quite a ways, but they did recently wipe characters and make some changes in a pretty large patch. So while he is quite knowledgeable about the game, there might be some things that have changed, so you'll have to bear with us. But we want to give you kind of an introductory first look at Dauntless, because let me tell you, Monster Hunter games are fun, and while this is a Monster Hunter clone at heart, they definitely take it in a different direction, and I really dig that. They have the same progression of play where you hunt a monster, you fight what they call a behemoth, you take it down. It's co-op, it's a team effort, it's all about strategy and understanding patterns and your reflexes and things like that. You gain parts from that monster, you go and create gear, you get better gear, hunt the monster more. Once you get to a different tier and you're powered up, you go after the bigger monster and the harder monster, and so on and so forth. Repeat the pattern. But the game does some things different. For example, they have a whole style system, which is very interesting, which we'll go into a little while. Plus, they have a kind of a different spin on the gear system, and probably the biggest difference is the visual style of the game and the lore of the game, which is very, very unique. I like the fact that they have kind of this floating island going on with this modified cell graphic concept going on. With that being said, we're just going to jump right into a hunt here. Now, being as they've recently restarted the character progression in the game and kind of reset everybody, we are right at the beginning, so we're doing one of the original hunts here. We don't know which one it's going to give us. Let's see. So we are going to patrol here. Private hunt. Okay, should drop us right in.
We should also note that, we've done all the preliminary tutorial stuff, running around, grabbing all the quests, and now we're actually on our first hunt.
Yes, absolutely. This is the hunt. They give you a place to jump in and take out a random monster as kind of an introductory to the game, but there is quite a few things where they teach you how to upgrade your gear, about the different pieces of gear. Plus, right when you start the game, it drops you into a fight, kind of a tutorial fight with a monster by yourself. So you get kind of an entry-level, dropped in the deep end of the pool kind of concept, which was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that fight. So let's jump in and see which monster it gives us.
It's kind of this is a new screen. This is kind of cool, where you can examine the other people in your party. That's definitely new and definitely needed, because you can actually see what other people are taking and coordinate some strategies that way. You used to just be blind dropping in and you didn't know what everyone had.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't even think of that. That's very cool. The one thing about this game, I see they're making a lot of strides in it, and I will say this is a closed beta game, so this is an early access game, so there are going to be some things that are clunky, there's going to be some things that aren't perfect, but the one thing I would say that they have the longest road ahead of them with is their UI. While that screen was a good jump in the right direction from the previous closed beta, I do feel their UI has some problems, but that being said, the important part of the game, which of course is the hunting and fighting and all of that, it feels really tight. I feel that there's a visceral nature to the fighting, although I don't think they've quite got down the weight of the weapon. So like when you hit, it doesn't really feel like there's a lot of force behind the weapon, but I do feel that I feel in complete control of my fighter, and that's important in a Monster Hunter type game. Is if you get hit, you want to feel it's because you made a mistake, that you are in control of the fight, that the controls aren't a barrier. The better you get, that you're gonna see better results. These games are meant to be challenging, but they're also meant to be skill based and not luck based, in my opinion. So here we are running around the map, gathering different things. There's these little aether wisps. Gallows, what are those?
Super important. Probably the most important thing you're going to collect. They're used in pretty much all your different potions and things like that. And they're so important as you don't even actually have to farm them. You don't have to collect them per se like you do plants and rocks and things like that. You just literally run over them and pick them up. So super important to gather as many of those as you can.
Okay, so they're like a crafting ingredient. Interesting.
Yeah, that's what all this stuff is. Even the animal and the wildlife in here. Really cool aspect is that you see all this stuff, but it actually serves a purpose.
That's very cool. Oh, I got stuck. There we go. I got stuck on the dead deer. I guess it happened. Oh, the deer got back up. I guess dead deer was spoken too soon.
Yeah, now he doesn't like us.
I really don't blame him. I just hit him in the head with my giant sword, so I guess that does make sense. But
yeah, now I was telling Nick off camera here too, or pardon me, I was telling Hikaru here off camera that they in the previous patch of the game there was when you hit the tab menu you could see all your keys, and they've kind of eliminated that, which is kind of disappointing because it's been at least a month or two since I've played, and I don't remember exactly all the different keys. So this might be kind of interesting to find out how to use some of our abilities and things here.
Yeah, the UI is pretty rough. I play with a controller in most games, but especially for this game, being that I'm used to playing Monster Hunter on a 3DS or certain versions of it on console, so I'm used to having a controller. So it just kind of makes sense for me to play on a controller for this game, but their controller support is spotty. Certain parts of the UI just do not work with controller, and you have to default to keyboard. But like I said, this is a beta and not that big of a deal. So what Gallux did right there is, because he saw the monster, you can let the rest of your party know by shooting off your flare that you found the monster, this is where it is, come and get it. Flares are a customizable item in the game. We're both using the Founder's Flare, but there is a bunch of them you can get. They have different icons and effects and looks. Definitely a fun part. I look forward to collecting a bunch of those. Something I do need to say that I have not said yet is that we are doing a giveaway in this series. I have a Slayer level Founder Pack code that I want to give away to somebody. So that they can come and join us in Dauntless and play this game, because it is a very fun game from what I've seen so far. And anything I can do to spread the love of Monster Hunter games, or Monster Hunter style games, I will. So stay tuned to the end of this video when we give the details on how to enter that contest to win that key. Okay, is this another Nasher? I think this is the Nasher. It looks familiar. Yeah, this is definitely a Nasher. So this is the same guy you fight at the beginning. So you have two types of attacks on this weapon, at least. You have the kind of a light attack and a heavy attack. Of course, you have your dodge, which I just failed to do there. And it's all about, putting out damage, avoiding getting hit. Sounds simple, but trust me, it gets harder and harder as you get the bigger behemoths. And of course, as always, the second the camera starts rolling, I start playing really badly. That is how it works. Now, I'm using I believe they just call it the sword. It reminds me kind of I don't know, it's faster than a greatsword in Monster Hunter, that's for sure. It's actually not that slow of a weapon, even though it's a two-handed weapon. You think it would be. But I'm used to playing faster weapons, but this one's not really dragging me down too bad. I actually don't mind this weapon at all. What is the name for the style of weapon you're using there, Gallows?
I'm using chain blades.
Chain blades.
These are the faster attacking ones, but they have kind of a ranged element to them, so they look like these kind of like picks, but they have a chain to them, so I can toss them out and do kind of a ranged attack, which I find super useful.
Very cool. Yeah, that definitely seems to be the weapon that he's maining. He was using that before, I know. I haven't actually chose a weapon to main in this game. That's half the fun, is picking the weapon, because the weapon is basically your class. Your fight style changes completely based off the weapon you're using.
So one of the other cool things I wanted to mention here, since we're right near it, is that one of the cool features of this game is that they have like these tears in the ground here, where the monster spawns, and it works as kind of like a healing station where you can go and get some free healing out of, but they have a limited use to it. So you and your party, as you start taking damage, you can go over there and hit that kind of a healing well, but it is going to run out eventually the more and more we use it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Very cool. So as you'll see in the lower right hand corner of the screen, I have 4 items on me. You choose the items you bring with you before you go on a hunt. I have healing potions, which are on top there. You can take a limited amount of healing potions with you. And then I got hip check there. The item on the left is like a resurrection item in case you get knocked out. The one on the right is a stamina potion, and then the one on the bottom is my my flare. So you do have some choices to bring with you. I had different types of potions I can bring, and it's part of the fun as you're going up in the game, is, you know, building the loadout and heading in. And then I'll let Gallows explain the lantern item that you equip, because part of your equipment you can see dangling off of my belt there is a lantern, and before we started recording he was kind of giving me a rundown of that item and how it can do different abilities and such. If you want to give him a rundown there, Gallows.
Sure. The lantern, as Akaro said, it's a piece of your equipment, and the way it works is it's essentially it's going to add what they call aspects to your gear, and that's what really differentiates your equipment, so that if you want something that you know, gives you more armor or makes you quicker or more invulnerable at certain periods of time, those are the things that you're going to kind of shoot for when you're crafting your gear. But in addition to that, the lantern acts as kind of like a buff. So it will be a clickable gear piece that you can use, and each lantern kind of does its own unique thing. Sometimes they may heal you, it may give you stamina, sometimes it may give you a shield to you and your party, you know, things of that nature. So that's another just element to the gear, and the things that you can differentiate through making a build your own.
Very cool. I mean, that's half the fun of these types of games, is customizing your character and finding out exactly what you want to do and getting your skills going. I haven't got far enough into the game to know exactly how their system in this game compares to like the skill gem system in Monster Hunter, but I definitely look forward to it. Is there something similar to that in this game, where you're putting together pieces of gear to create sets to make skills activate?
Yes, absolutely. That's what they call in this game. They call them aspects.
Okay.
And essentially, you know, if you want to have like a more defensive set, the more aspects that unlock certain, you know, differing levels of defense. So you know, if you gain 2 aspects, it of course, you know, makes you, you know, maybe your armor higher, and then if you get 3, 4, and 5, then they keep adding those bonuses on more and more, and then so you can mix and match.
Very cool. Yeah, this game has a ton of potential, and like I was saying earlier, the combat feels great, and that's really what the key of it is it feels good fighting if you feel in control, and it just makes it all the better. You just want to take on stronger and stronger foes, and, you know, test your abilities and get better at the game, and this definitely has that aspect to it. I look forward to trying some of the other weapons. We'll do another hunt after this one, possibly in the next episode, where at least I try a different weapon to kind of give you an idea. And before we do so, I will of course show you the different choices for weapons. I'm getting hammered. I was stuck against a wall. I didn't realize that. Let's drink up. There we go. Oh, we got him.
He's down. The cool part of this game too that I really find interesting, similar to the Monster Hunters, is that you can actually chop parts of the monster off. And although we didn't do it this time, we can try for it next time, to where we can actually try and take his tail off. And if we hit that tail enough times, it'll actually sever off and it'll leave it on the ground. And then we'll have a chance of adding that part to our loot that we collect at the end of the match.
Absolutely, location specific is fun. That way you can kind of give almost a secondary objective while you're fighting. If you're making something that needs the tail, focus on the tail, I need the tail, kind of thing. Adds a different layer.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of those things that they use for crafting as well. So you may actually need that tail to craft a certain piece of armor that you're shooting for. So that adds an element of specific, part hunting.
Very cool. And then do we just leave automatically, or?
It should just take us out.
Okay.
Well, they've made some changes.
Oh, there we go. Cool.
Still a beta.
It is still a beta, and I just got disconnected.
Slack.
I just got dropped, but that's okay. I'm sure I got credit for the quest, and it is still in beta. So this is not... I've played a few matches already, and this hasn't happened, so I'm not too worried about this being a normal. So what we will do is I will go ahead and get reconnected, and we'll jump right back in here. Okay, so we're back up and going. So it looked like it was just a random disconnect. No big deal. That happens. It is during beta. I did get credit for the quest and everything, so nothing to worry about. So let's just jump right back in here. So that was my second quest, and my quest was to do that twice. So let's see...
Look who it is.
Where we go from here. I have to switch to mouse because the controller does not work in the AI quite yet. It's not very well. Okay, good work.
You did sign up for danger.
And then doing really well. I'm running a hell of okay. It's got the regent questing. It's got the regent questioning whether my approach is working or not. To be completely frank with you, and once you lose the confidence of the regent, it's tough to earn back. We need some wins. Okay. Form a party and hunt any two behemoths. Okay, so that's the next quest, is to hunt behemoths. I had kind of a feeling that was going to be the fact. Did I get another one? Discovered a little... Looks like there's a second quest. Okay. Oh, looks like it's part of the Christmas quest, which we haven't jumped into quite yet, but there is a holiday event going on called Frostfell, which is part of the Christmas event they have going on. So, a couple things I want to show you guys. First thing I want to show you guys before we talk about the giveaway and the episode is I want to show you what weapons there are to choose from. Because like I had said earlier, the weapons are half the fun in a game like this, is it's basically your class. So there is a hammer, as you can see here. If I recall, the hammer is like powered. Is that correct, Gallows, from what I saw from videos?
Yeah, it's very, very unique. It has some movement to it. It actually has like a rocket propellant that's attached to it that you can use to not only use it as movement, but you can elevate your positioning to above the monster and come crashing down on its head. I think that's really the kind of cool and useful thing about it, is that you can get that elevation to where you can do breaks and things like that on a behemoth's head or horns or something of that nature. And that to me is just super cool in that weapon, because you take off, you ride it kind of like a broomstick, and it just launches you into the air, and then you use it as a club on the way down.
That sounds amazing. The second one is going to be the axe. As you can see here, it's a giant axe. By looking at this, it looks like it's probably a bit slower than the sword, just because of the size of it, but I have not tried it. Have you tried out the axe yet, Gallows?
I have. It's a charge-up weapon,
okay.
And it does some massive damages. But it does have its downfall in the fact that it's very slow. So it requires charge-up time. So it's one of those weapons that you really have to utilize your positioning, where you get your strikes in, your massive blows, and then get out.
Sounds a lot
attacking.
like.
Whereas the quicker weapons, you can do a bunch of smaller attacks. The axe is all about the power and charging up as high of an attack as you can.
Cool. Sounds more like Greatsword and Monster Hunter. Very cool. Then they got swords, which of course I was using for that last hunt, which is also what you start with. You do actually start with all of these, but this is what you start equipped with. The next weapon on the list is the chain blades, which of course we saw Gallows hunting before. He was sporting these. They are very cool looking, kind of a ranged, fast hybrid. And then there's the new one, which is what I'm going to take on the next mission. It is called the Warpike. I don't really know much about it, but I am looking forward to trying it. And in the next episode, we will be doing a hunt with this. Okay, so I got that equipped now. Gotta wrestle with the UI to get out. There we go.
I have not seen this in action, so this is going to be totally unique and interesting to me, because the last time I played this weapon didn't exist in the game, so I'm very curious to find out what it's all about.
Definitely exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays. I don't know if it plays... I mean, you assume it plays like a spear or a lance, but I don't know if it's going to be like Monster Hunter where you're really pokey, or if it's going to be like spear where you're spinning it around. I'm hoping it's going to be like spinning it around, but we'll see. We'll see if this is going to be the weapon for me, or possibly the weapon for a viewer out there that when he sees it in action thinks it's amazing. Next thing I'm going to show you is right here. This is the Core Breaker. So these are chroma cores. So chroma cores are... Well, I'm going to let Gallows explain exactly what these are, because I'm not sure I quite fully understand them yet. How about you, Gallows? Do you have a grasp on these quite yet?
Yeah, the little breaker machine here, it actually breaks two different types of cores. It does your chroma cores, and then it also does a thing called aether cores. Aether cores are essentially, your parts of your monster and things like that. There's different rarity types that you can get at the end of the mission. And then there's the chroma cores, which are all the visual effect things. And I was actually, we were discussing this previous to recording the video, is that they had just recently made the change to where they, instead of just a pure random, random loot box style that they have, they added more of the open it, get currency, and then you get to pick what you want as far as your visuals. And I think that definitely was a step in the right direction, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. When this controversy started hitting about loot boxes and developers taking them the wrong direction and kind of going too far with them, this company was one of the first to come out and say, you know what, when we first implemented that system, we didn't really think about the consequences of that system, and we don't want to do that to the players, so we're going to remove that idea completely. So I had to give them credit for that. They definitely seem to have a solid, I guess you can call it, care and love for their player base, and it shows without question. So I look forward to seeing the monetization of the game being away from the loot box concept. With that being said, let us talk about the giveaway. So for this giveaway, like I said earlier in the video, we're going to be giving away a code for a Slayer level founder pack that will get you into the closed beta, as well as get you an in-game title and the founder flare. We have one of these to give away. It's real easy to enter. I'm not going to make you jump through any crazy hoops. All I need you to do is put your Twitter handle or your email address in the comment section below this video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. In 2 weeks from the posting of the video, we will pick a winner, and I will contact them directly, and I will announce it in the comment section of this video as well as to who the winner is once it's chosen. I wish you all luck. Based off of what I played so far and my excitement for the genre as a whole, I definitely suggest this game as something to pick up, and this could be a great way for you to get in for free before the open beta starts later this year. With that being said, don't forget to join us next episode, where we're going to do another hunt with the new weapon that just came out and kind of dive into some of the systems a bit more. Thanks for joining us. I hope you'll follow us into the Vortex, and we'll see you next time.